Welcome to the 10th episode of Vette Vue. I'm your host Kyle McFarland. This time, we will be looking at a 1968 Corvette T-Top coupe. 1968 was the first year for the C3 Corvette. This one is said to have a matching numbers, optional L79 327 cubic inch engine, and a 4-speed manual transmission. This Corvette is currently listed on eBay with a buy it now price of $36,950. Here are some of the specs for this car, including the mileage. From the description, it states the following. You are looking at a 1968 Corvette in exceptional condition. The car runs as good as it looks. Just check out these pictures. The engine is a 327 cubic inch small block V8. It cannot be verified as numbers matching, but at some point in its life the engine was rebuilt. At that time, they decked the block, which made the numbers unreadable. However, we believe it is original, but cannot confirm this to be true. The engine runs strong. The car has a 4-speed manual transmission that is a blast to drive. The clutch grabs low with no chatter or slippage, and all synchros are functioning properly. This car is a lot of fun to drive. The paint is in exceptional condition. It is not a wavy Bondo-filled car. She is nice and flat. The undercarriage is in very good condition. Look at these pictures. This car was definitely garaged its whole life. Please look at the pictures. Someone spent a lot of money to get the car to this level. The interior is also in very good condition. The seats, rugs, dash etc. are all in good condition. All the gauges are working as they should. The heat is working. The radio works and sounds great. All the lights are functioning properly, including the hideaway headlights. The only items we found not working are the door for the windshield wipers. You have to open the door manually before you can use the wipers. And the blower motor for the heater is also not working. It's amazing a car that's over 50 years old is in this excellent condition. Now, let's turn it over to George Spankle for his commentary on originality.
Thanks, Kyle. Well, you know I like 68 Vettes, and that's because it's relatively easy to determine if the car has been monkeyed with. 1968 was the first year for the C3 Corvette. In 1969, General Motors touted they had redesigned more than 1,000 parts, which makes the 1968 Corvette very unique. There are more one-year parts on a 68 than any other model year. This particular 68 has a bunch of non-original parts. Some are obvious, others not so much. Let's start with the front side marker lenses. They should be clear, but these are 1969 amber lenses. Then there is the front grille. 68 Vettes had silver on the horizontal bars. Some early 69 Vettes also had this treatment, but this car has either a later 69 grille or a replacement. Now, of course, the side pipes are not original. In 1968, side pipes were not an option. At the back end, we see 1969 inboard taillights. All 1968 Corvettes originally had 4 red taillights with the reverse lights under the bumper. This car has had some bodywork to the tail, as it appears to be about 1/2 inch higher than stock, as you can see here. Hey Kyle, this Corvette seems to have the ultra-rare quad exhaust. Look at those exhaust ports.
Really, George? Are you sure about that?
No, Kyle, that was a joke. It appears someone thought it would be a good idea to shove a couple of disconnected chrome tips in the rear exhaust cutouts instead of using a proper side exhaust rear filler panel. Of course, that would have to be a 69 panel because in 1968, side exhaust was not an option. Then there's the interior. Well, here we see an obviously incorrect steering wheel. It might not be so obvious, but the gauge cluster bezel is also incorrect. It is the pebble grain style from a 1969. The 68 should be smooth. It was one of the 1,000 parts changed in 1969. This was due to glare from sunlight coming through the rear window when driving away from the sun. Next we see a 1969 map storage panel on the passenger side of the dash. This panel on a 1968 dash should be smooth, like this. I think we are seeing a pattern here, hey Kyle?
Yes, it is starting to look that way.
No doubt, if we were to take a closer look at this 1968 Corvette, we would see more and more of those 1,000 parts GM changed in 1969, such as the later model interior sail panels, which are missing the one-year-only interior lights on each side. Turning to the engine, it's the same story as many other incorrect Corvettes. Wrong, wrong, and more wrong. It's just wrong. The description states, the engine block was decked.
What's the purpose for that, George?
Decking an engine block is typically done to increase compression and ultimately increase power, but the description states that unfortunately during the process, the original numbers were ground off the engine block. It would have been a good idea to at least let us know the block casting number. Without any numbers, we've got to assume the block is not original. So, under the hood, we see aftermarket valve covers, also an aftermarket air cleaner. There are header exhaust manifolds installed. Then there is an aluminum intake manifold. That's wrong, because in 1968, all small blocks had a cast iron intake. The carburetor should be a Rochester Quadrajet, but this engine has what looks like a Holley or possibly an Edelbrock carburetor. All the ignition shielding is missing and the radiator caps are incorrect. Finally, there is a later model windshield wiper door actuator. All 68 Corvettes had the coffee can style actuator like this.
Okay. Thanks, George. Now let's go to the parts rack with Jamie Colavito. Jamie, what do you have for us this time?
Thanks, Kyle. To begin with, we have a pair of correct for 68 clear front side marker lenses to replace the incorrect 1969 lenses. At the back end of this Corvette, it will need a pair of 1968 tail lenses to replace the incorrect 1969 inboard tail lenses. Looking at the interior, we will need the correct 1968 steering wheel, like this. Then, this Vette will need the correct 1968 smooth gauge cluster bezel, like this one. A 1-year, 1968, smooth passenger side dash panel will be needed to complete the interior restoration. Finally, for this interior, this Corvette is missing both interior lights on the inside of the sail panels. Replacement lenses are available, like these, but the interior sail panels are very hard to find, so the existing inside panels will likely need to be modified. Under the hood, we have a plethora of parts to install, starting with the correct 1968 windshield washer door actuator. Up next, we have a pair of correct 1968 327, 350 horsepower chrome valve covers. Next, we have the correct 1968 327 cast iron intake manifold with a Rochester Quadrajet 4-barrel carburetor. To top it off, a correct open element chrome lid air cleaner will be needed. A complete original dual exhaust system with the original ram's horn exhaust manifolds will be needed to complete this engine restoration. This 1968 Corvette is missing all of its ignition shielding, so a complete set like this will be necessary. Finally, an original radiator cap and overflow cap will be required if this Corvette is going to be properly restored. I've included links in the description below for all the parts which I have shown. By clicking on the links, you can go directly to a reputable Corvette parts distributor. Now, let's turn it back over to you, Kyle.
Thanks again, Jamie. We will now discuss our thoughts about this 1968 L79 Corvette coupe. So George, what's your opinion on this beautiful-looking C3 Corvette?
Well, it is beautiful, I'll give you that, but original. Not quite, Kyle. While the paint is nice, it is not 1968 Rally Red or Corvette Bronze, which were the only two available red colors for the 1968 Corvette. This color is some kind of Porsche, Ferrari, or whatever red. The color is wrong for a 1968 Corvette, but from the trim tag we see the paint code 978, which means this Corvette was originally international blue. So, that's totally incorrect.
Well, George, the rest of the car seems to be all there. So that's a plus, right?
Yeah, it's all there, Kyle, but a lot of it came from a 69 and the aftermarket. And that custom tail, geez, I'm sure Larry Shinoda would not approve.
All right. What about the value? Do you think $36,950 is a fair price for this 68 Corvette?
Hey Kyle, don't get your knickers in a twist over this mishmosh Corvette. Now, regarding the value, when you see an all-original Survivor L79 1968 Corvette asking $35,000, like this one that we see here, well, then this particular concoction Vette is not going to sell for more than that. No way, no how. This is maybe $15,000 to $20,000 on a good day.
Okay, I just thought this one looked pretty good.
Yeah, well, that's why I said you have to be very careful with the 68 because of the 1,000 different parts that were changed for 1969. It's difficult to find a 68 that wasn't munkered with. A lot of them were.
My guy just decked my block and added a ½ inch to my tail. I should go much faster now.
Really now? You don't say.
Okay. Well, that just about sums it up. Once again, there you have it. Please subscribe to our channel for more analysis of Corvettes for sale. You can also contact us at vettevue@yahoo.com. Special thanks to George Spankel and Jamie Colovito for their contribution to this video. I'm Kyle McFarland for Vette Vue. Hope to see you next time.